Claudia Carpio, car mechanic, Bolivia.
Krishna Fuyal, bakery employee, Nepal.
Gloria Flores, small entrepreneur, Honduras.
Javier Carlos Huanca, foreman, Bolivia. James Waniala, shoe trader, Uganda. More than 1 billion people in the world are living in extreme poverty. They are fighting for survival on just $1 a day. They do not have a real roof over their heads or enough to eat, and their children cannot go to school. The conditions in which they're forced to live are degrading. Not only are their chances of development severely hampered by their financial and social situation, economic and political conditions also restrict their progress. The vocational training projects of Swisscontact, the development organization of the Swiss private sector, support the initiative of people in the poorest countries in the world.
La Paz, the world's highest city with more than 1 million inhabitants. Claudia Carpio is on her way to work in El Alto, a suburban town situated at 4,000 meters. She is training to be a car mechanic, an unusual job for women in Bolivia. The 21-year-old is doing an apprenticeship in the dual vocational training system in one of the town's few professional workshops. 4 days a week, she works with her instructor in the workshop. 1 day a week, she goes to school. Her apprentice's wage is 400 bolivianos, about 60 Swiss francs. For several years, she has worked as a secretary on a temporary basis, as there were no opportunities for women to train in such a traditionally male job. It was only when the dual system was introduced that she could make her dream come true. I have always been interested in cars. I just like cars, and I enjoy being underneath them. I am interested in engines and the latest models that come out. In collaboration with the Vocational Training Institute Infocal, which has training facilities all over Bolivia, Swisscontact has introduced dual vocational training and managed to anchor it in the Bolivian legal system. Project funds from Switzerland have equipped the school's workshop. This is where Claudia learns to work with modern tools. The education only costs 6 Swiss francs a month. This means that even poor young people have the opportunity to learn a vocation because they can pay for their schooling out of their apprenticeship wage. Dual vocational training has been a big success. More and more occupations are being included in the program. Providing equal opportunities for men and women is a central concern of Swisscontact and Infocal. The instructors are sensitized through role-playing to the problems the women face in the workplace. Here we see a man taking the role of a secretary in a job interview.
Estamos buscando un buen secretario.
One of the reasons why companies appreciate the dual vocational training system is that it provides hands-on practice, unlike the technical colleges. This plastic factory in El Alto only employs mechanics in their mold construction department who have completed an apprenticeship at Infocal. One of these mechanics has climbed the career ladder at an amazing rate. He was originally employed as a general handyman. The boss was so impressed by the way he worked that he sent him to Infocal. Today, Javier Carlos Huanca is a foreman in mold construction and has 6 people reporting to him.
I would like to be an engineer. This is my dream, and that's why I've been doing vocational training. Soon I'm going to start studying at university.
Claudia Carpio also has a dream. She dreams of being independent and having her own workshop where men and women work alongside each other as equals.
the bus station in Dunlea, a good spot to do business with quick snacks. Regional specialities are also on offer, such as these spicy rings made of cheese and maize dough. The ones of the brand Angelica are particularly tasty. They're produced in a rosquilla bakery, located just an hour from here. The proud owner is Gloria Flores. The 38-year-old woman employs 21 workers in a region where there's almost no chance of employment. She made the step from running the small rosquilla bakery to becoming a small entrepreneur in just 2 years, with the support of training and business planning provided by Swisscontact. She's constantly developing new pastries, always with an eye on quality. Her cheesemaker also benefits from Swisscontact advice, because you can only make good rosquillas if the cheese is good. The same is true for the quality of all the products in the value chain of rosquilla production. On the initiative of Swisscontact, all the producers have therefore joined forces. Near the bakery there is another business supported by Swisscontact. Every day, 350 kilos of cooking bananas from local plantations are processed into tajaditas, banana chips. 20 workers have a job here with social insurance. They work 5 days a week on a piece work basis. The business belongs to 5 women. They began producing the tajaditas in a hut and selling them on the street to make ends meet. Over a period of 2 years, Swisscontact supported them with advice, training and business planning. This is how 5 poor housewives were transformed into entrepreneurs with a modern production facility, producing 5,000 sacks of tajaditas a day for their own Del Racimo brand. The women give the banana skins from the chips production to the farmers. They're a welcome source of food for their animals during the dry period. Honduras is one of the poorest countries in the world. 50% of the inhabitants live in extreme poverty. This is also how Gloria Flores grew up, in this region.
When I was 11 years old, my mother bought me my first shoes, similar to tennis shoes. I was very proud of those shoes. In spite of being poor, I was just happy. The house where I grew up was very similar to that one back there. I always swore to myself that I would escape from poverty. God had made me intelligent enough, and actually I wanted to study, but we were too poor. I would have loved to have been able to study. That was my dream.
Her fondest wish has been fulfilled for her children. Thanks to her successful enterprise, they can all go to college. She financed her stepdaughter's studies in economics. Now she manages the accounts for the business. This smart woman is in the process of expanding her bakery. Thanks to 3 new insulated ovens, she aims to double sales while using 50% less wood. She learned how to do this during the 2 years that she was advised by Swisscontact. Now she wants to go for it alone. She has already extended the market for her products to the USA. Every 2 months she ships a couple of crates there in a container. And the Del Racimo banana chips can also be purchased from the wholesale dealer in the capital. The women's business is flourishing.
A hotel in Kathmandu. The retired hotel specialist, Elsbeth Fopp, is providing voluntary practical support for the senior expert corps.
Not around.
The employees need to become acquainted with the expectations of guests from Europe and the USA.
Protection?
In the same city, another senior expert. Alois Rusheim, retired baker and chocolatier, is demonstrating how to make a Swiss plattered loaf. Over the past 4 weeks, he has shown the employees how to make different kinds of bread. Up to then, they only knew one type. He has adapted the recipes to what is available locally, for example using oil instead of butter. However, the loaves are delicious. There are no trolleys in the hotel. Without hesitation, Elsbeth Fopp designs a wooden trolley to be made in the hotel's own carpenter shop. In the future, the room attendants won't have to carry the heavy laundry bags themselves. From chocolate mass to chocolate truffles. Every day, the employees learn how to make one type. The owner of the confectionery is convinced that there are enough potential buyers of sweets and pastries in Kathmandu. He aims to gain a competitive edge with this new product in his assortment. But the apprentices also benefit from the training. It makes them more independent because those who know how to make confectionery will always find a job in another confectionery. Elsbeth Fopp is taking photographs of anything that she sees that is not as it should be. It's easier to explain using pictures. She also keeps records on the right way of doing things. The pictures help the employees to remember how things are supposed to look, even after Elsbeth Fopp has gone back home. Of course, I am able to interact with people quite differently. I can give a woman a hug, or I can pat a young man on the back. You can't do that as a young woman. People immediately feel a bit uncomfortable, but when you're a grandmother, it's no problem. Elsbeth Fopp really appreciates the fact that old people are treated with respect in Nepal. The people like her. You can see that when she returns to one of the places where she has worked before.
Jakarta, 33 degrees, humid, polluted. "70% of the air pollution is caused by traffic. Taking a deep breath here is as tough on your lungs as being a chain smoker." Jakarta is one of the most polluted cities in the world. The high levels of lead in the air threaten the cerebral development of children. Cases of asthma and cancer are increasing. In the middle of these poisonous fumes, people are buying food and snacks. There is no escape. The buses are really bad. When I'm standing behind one that accelerates, I have a hard time breathing. The bus is the means of public transport in Jakarta. Every day, millions of people commute 2 to 6 hours between work and home, but only one bus in 3 is in a fit state to be driven. This is where Swisscontact comes in. It collaborated with a bus company and Mercedes to organize training courses for mechanics to reduce the unburned carbon particle emissions from diesel vehicles. The mechanics are taught how to maintain the buses, measure exhaust emissions, and how to carry out the necessary cleaning and repair work. In collaboration with the authorities, Swisscontact also develops laws and regulations for emission standards and supports the promotion of environmental awareness.
Agar paru-paru kita tidak dicemari emisi.
Using, for example, TV commercials produced by local companies.
Membantu memelihara kecerdasan anak-anak kita.
They're still small, these newly hatched chicks, but for Robina Katumba, they represent capital that grows. The price of the small laying hens, about 130 Swiss francs, constitutes a small fortune for the 40-year-old woman from Uganda. This makes the purchase of new chicks a rare occasion. 3 years ago, Robina Katumba started with a handful of hens, but today she has more than 200 that easily lay 200 eggs a day. Luxury products in Africa. Robina achieved this with small loans. On the wholesale market in Jinja, James Waniala, the shoe dealer, goes hunting for the best shoes.
give you 10,000.
You are joking, please.
Second-hand shoes are in great demand in Africa, but you have to constantly work on expanding your assortment because the larger the choice, the better your business goes. At the beginning it was tough. To purchase his first pair of shoes, James Waniala sold his cow. Nowadays, his stand is the largest on the market. He has invested what was for him a lot of money in the shoe assortment and the stalls. He could only do that with the help of loans of 100, 200 or 300 francs. This also enabled him to create jobs for sales staff and the shoe cleaners, who make sure that the second-hand shoes shine like new every morning. In the yard behind their house, Grace Oyella and her mother, Martha Nakuya, are fiddling around with chemicals and fragrances. Shampoo is brewed up over the wood fire. Mother Martha used to be a chemist and knows what she's doing. Their home business pays well because they can produce cheaper than the competitors. They have more and more customers, which means that they have already been able to expand their assortment. From time to time, they need loans to buy raw materials. Like James, the shoe trader, and Robina, the egg producer, they can't make their business work on their own. The key to their success is called village banking or microfinance. And this is how it works. The members of the Kukiritsa village bank are gathering for a meeting. It is chaired by the president, the cashier and the secretary, who are all trained by Swisscontact to carry out their jobs. The members of the village bank pledge to regularly save money, which is collectively invested at a commercial bank. That's why the banker, who was trained in microloan banking by Swisscontact, is always present. After a certain time, the individual members are granted loans amounting up to 3 times the amount that has been saved. However, it must be paid back within 16 weeks. Otherwise, the group has to vouch for the loan. This is why it is not possible to accept just anyone. For those who are familiar with local conditions, it is no surprise to hear that 3/4 of all members are women.
If you give a credit to men, maybe 50% will reach home and 50% may be somewhere on the way left. So if you give the credit to the women, you have actually given a credit to the family. They will work towards paying it back, and it becomes a commitment to the whole family that they have to work hard and pay back the loan.
Robina can finance a good education for her 5 sons now. 15 of Marta and Grace's relatives live from their business. A huge success with small loans.
Swisscontact is convinced that the only way to achieve sustainable life improvement is through your own efforts. This is why it supports those in the poorest countries with training and advice, based on the principle of helping others to help themselves.